Ever get that itch? For a laptop that's got some real power under the hood, one that can handle those demanding games or creative software you throw at it without, chugging along or feeling sluggish. But at the same time, you don't want to be lugging around a massive brick in your backpack, right? You need something that can keep up with you on the go. Well, today we're diving deep into a machine that tries to nail that sweet spot: power and portability.
That's exactly right. We're taking a close look at the Razer Blade 14, specifically the one powered by the AMD Ryzen 9 processor. We've combed through expert reviews, crunched the numbers, and we're here to distill all those key insights for you.
Think of this as your shortcut to really understanding this laptop. What are its strengths? Where does it stumble a bit? All without getting bogged down in the technical jargon. So let's start with the basics. First impressions, what's this thing look and feel like?
Well, Razer's known for a pretty distinct aesthetic, that premium look and feel. And the Blade 14, it definitely follows suit. The reviews all highlight its sleek, minimalist design. But one thing that really caught our eye is the use of a CNC milled aluminum chassis.
Okay, CNC milled aluminum. Sounds impressive, but what does that actually mean for someone using this laptop every day?
Imagine this. The entire body of the laptop, not just parts assembled together, is carved out of a single block of aluminum with incredible precision. Right off the bat, you'll notice how solid and robust it feels. It just screams well built. But here's the kicker. That construction also helps keep the laptop surprisingly lightweight. We're talking under 4 pounds. And it's remarkably thin, too, less than 17 millimeters. For a machine packing this level of performance, that's pretty remarkable.
It's all about that balance, isn't it? Having enough weight to feel premium, but not so much that it becomes a burden to carry around. What about visually? What are some of those design elements that instantly say, hey, this is a Razer?
The first thing you'll notice, of course, is that iconic illuminated green Razer logo on the lid. And when you open it up, bam, you're greeted by a per-key RGB backlit keyboard, all powered by Razer Chroma. So yeah, you can personalize the heck out of those lighting effects. But beyond just the looks, the reviews consistently praise the level of engineering and the overall premium feel. It just feels like a high-quality piece of hardware in your hands.
And it's not like you're stuck with just one look, right?
Exactly. You've got choices. You can go with the classic matte black finish, that stealthy, kind of serious gamer vibe. Or, if that's not your style, there's the mercury finish, which is a silver color. Bit more professional, bit more understated. So they've got options to appeal to different tastes.
All right, so it looks the part, feels premium, but let's talk about the heart of the experience, the display. What are we looking at here?
The standard configuration comes with a 14-inch QHD display. That's a resolution of 2560 by 1440 pixels. But for gamers especially, the real star of the show is that 165 Hz refresh rate.
Okay, break those numbers down for us. What does QHD resolution actually mean for everyday use?
In a nutshell, it means you're getting a much sharper, more detailed image compared to your typical Full HD screen. For gamers, that translates to seeing finer details in game environments. And for creative professionals, say if you're editing photos or videos, that extra resolution means a bigger workspace and the ability to see your work with incredible clarity. Now, that 165 Hz refresh rate, that's all about how smoothly things move on the screen.
How important is that smoothness, really?
Well, for gamers, a higher refresh rate like this means you get way less motion blur. So those fast-paced action sequences are super crisp, giving you a real competitive edge. Everything just feels more fluid, more responsive. But honestly, even if you're not a hardcore gamer, scrolling through websites, working on documents, it all just feels smoother and more enjoyable on a high refresh rate display.
Sharp visuals and buttery smooth motion sounds pretty good. But what about color accuracy? Is this display good enough for content creators who really need that precision?
Absolutely. The reviews emphasize the 100% DCI-P3 color coverage. Now, DCI-P3 is a color space used extensively in the film industry. What that means for you is, if you're doing any color-sensitive work, the colors you see on this screen are going to be incredibly accurate. That's a major advantage over laptops with less comprehensive color spaces.
In terms of practicality, how does it handle things like brightness and glare?
The reported brightness levels are excellent. You should have no trouble seeing the screen clearly in various lighting conditions. And here's a big plus. It has a matte finish, which does a fantastic job of cutting down on glare, especially if you're working in a bright environment. But here's something interesting. Some configurations actually take things even further with the display.
Oh, what do they offer?
Certain models bump things up to a QHD Plus display. That's a slightly higher resolution, 2560 by 1600 pixels. And get this, they also have a 240 Hz refresh rate. So, yeah, depending on the specific Blade 14 you're looking at, you could be getting an even sharper image and an even smoother, more responsive visual experience. That 240 Hz is a real game changer, especially for those competitive gamers who want every millisecond advantage.
Okay, visually this thing sounds like a beast, but all those pixels and smooth frame rates need some serious horsepower to run. Let's talk about what's powering this machine.
At the heart of it all is the AMD Ryzen 9 7940HS processor. This is an 8-core, 16-thread CPU capable of hitting boost clock speeds up to 5.2 GHz. That's a seriously powerful processor, and it's paired with either an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070 or an RTX 4060 GPU.
For those of us who aren't constantly comparing spec sheets, what does that combination actually mean in terms of what this laptop can do?
Simply put, you can pretty much throw anything at this thing and it'll handle it. For gamers, it's got the muscle to run the latest AAA games at high settings without breaking a sweat. You'll get smooth frame rates, no problem. If you're a content creator, it's more than capable of tackling those resource-intensive tasks like video editing, 3D rendering, even complex simulations without slowing you down. It's a truly versatile performer.
Paint me a picture. Someone fires up a graphically demanding game, something like Cyberpunk 2077, Call of Duty, Warzone, or Red Dead Redemption 2. What kind of experience can they realistically expect?
Based on our reviews, you can expect smooth frame rates and high-quality visuals consistently, even when you crank those settings up. One thing that's particularly interesting is the inclusion of NVIDIA's DLSS 3 technology. Think of it like an AI-powered performance booster. It can significantly increase frame rates without sacrificing visual quality. It basically uses artificial intelligence to upscale lower-resolution images, making them look sharper so you get better performance. And you get the added bonus of ray tracing, which makes lighting and reflections look incredibly realistic, adding a whole new level of depth to the visuals.
So it's a gaming powerhouse, but it's not just for gaming, right? That Ryzen 9 processor sounds like it can handle some serious workloads.
Oh, absolutely. When it comes to multitasking, this CPU is a beast. You can have tons of applications open at once without bogging the system down. For content creators, tasks like encoding video, running complex software, it all becomes much more efficient. And here's another thing to consider. Newer versions of this laptop feature the AMD Ryzen 9 8945HS processor. This one's got even more advanced AI capabilities built in, which means it's well equipped to handle whatever software and applications the future throws at it.
Sounds pretty future-proof, which is great. It's really impressive how they managed to pack this much performance into such a small package. Reviews even mentioned it holding its own against larger laptops in productivity benchmarks, which is quite a feat. What about memory and storage? What configurations are we looking at?
Typically, you'll have the option of where 16 gigabytes or 32 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which is super fast. And in many configurations, you can even expand that RAM later on if you need to. As for storage, it comes standard with a speedy 1TB PCIe Gen 4 NVMe SSD. These drives are significantly faster than older SSDs or traditional hard drives. What that means for you is much faster boot times, applications load in a snap, and the whole system just feels incredibly responsive.
Got it. We've got power, we've got speed, but with all that processing happening in such a compact space, heat management has to be a concern, right? How does the Blade 14 handle keeping it cool?
That's a crucial factor for any high-performance laptop, especially one this thin. Razer's gone with an advanced vapor chamber cooling system that uses dual fans. Instead of using those traditional heat pipes, a vapor chamber has this sealed compartment with liquid inside. When things heat up, the liquid evaporates, moves to a cooler area, condenses, and cycles back. It's a very efficient way to move heat around. Reviews consistently point out how well this system works, even when you're gaming for hours on end.
So it can actually tame all that heat generated by those powerful components.
It does a pretty impressive job, especially for a laptop this size and with this much power. Now, it's worth noting that under heavy gaming loads, you'll definitely feel some warmth on the chassis and those fans will kick in and become audible. But compared to a lot of other laptops in this category, the Blade 14's cooling system is considered top-notch. It's a trade-off, right? You get the performance, and the cooling system works hard to keep everything running smoothly.
That makes sense. Now, what about when you're on the move and need to unplug? How's the battery life?
The Razer Blade 14 has a 61.6 Wh battery. For everyday tasks like browsing the web, watching videos, you can expect around 9 hours of battery life, according to the reviews. But of course, if you're gaming or doing anything that really pushes the hardware, you'll get significantly less, maybe 2 to 3 hours.
So it's not going to last all day if you're constantly gaming or doing intensive work, but that's pretty typical for a powerful gaming laptop. And when you need to juice up,
it comes with a USB-C 230W fast charger so you can get back to full power relatively quickly. And you might be surprised to hear this, but even though it's a slim laptop, It doesn't skimp on ports for connecting all your peripherals and external displays.
What kind of connectivity options are we talking about?
You get two USB-C ports. These support the latest USB 4 standard, power delivery for charging, and DisplayPort 1.4 for hooking up external monitors. You've also got two USB-A 3.2 Gen 2 ports for your older devices, a full-size HDMI 2.1 port, and of course a standard 3.5mm audio combo jack for your headphones. Having USB 4 is a big plus as it provides a lot of bandwidth for future accessories and docking stations.
That's a pretty solid selection of ports for a laptop this compact. What about wireless connectivity?
It's got Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.3, so you can expect fast and reliable wireless connections. And looking ahead, some configurations even come with the even newer Wi-Fi 7 standard. That'll give you even faster speeds and lower latency when you're connected to a compatible network.
Okay, we've covered the hardware pretty thoroughly. Let's shift gears and talk about the software side of things and the overall user experience.
Razer includes its own software called Synapse, which basically acts as a control center for the laptop. You can customize all the RGB lighting on the keyboard and the logo, tweak performance profiles to prioritize power or battery life, and even adjust fan speeds. It gives you a lot of control over how the laptop behaves, and of course it comes with Windows 11 pre-installed.
How's the actual day-to-day experience? Things like the keyboard and trackpad can really make or break a laptop.
Reviews generally praise the keyboard. It offers a comfortable typing experience with decent key travel and good spacing between the keys. And those per-key RGB lights aren't just for show. You can actually customize them for practical purposes. The trackpad also gets consistently good marks for being responsive and accurate, which is crucial for smooth navigation, especially when you don't have a mouse handy.
All right, we've explored pretty much every nick and cranny of this laptop. Now the big question, based on everything we've discussed, is the Razer Blade 14 AMD Ryzen 9 worth your hard-earned money?
Let's recap those key strengths. You're getting a remarkably portable laptop with premium build quality that doesn't compromise on performance. You've got that powerful AMD Ryzen 9 processor and NVIDIA RTX 40 series graphics. The high refresh rate display is a real standout feature whether you're gaming or doing creative work. And that advanced cooling system does a great job of keeping everything running smoothly.
But like with any Highland device, there are a couple of things to consider, right?
Yeah, the main things to keep in mind are the price. It is a premium laptop, so it'll cost you a bit, and the fact that it can get warm and the fans can get a bit loud when you're really pushing the hardware.
So bottom line, what's the takeaway here?
In the end, the Razer Blade 14 AMD Ryzen 9 is a top contender in the ultra-portable high-performance laptop category. If a sleek, compact design, top-notch performance, and a stunning display are your priorities, and you're willing to pay a premium for that, then the reviews suggest it's a very compelling option. It's really designed for people who need both power and portability.
I think the biggest aha moments for me were just how well Razer has managed to cram all this powerful hardware into such a sleek and lightweight design. And that display, it really does sound incredible for both immersive gaming and detailed creative work.
It's fascinating to see how the lines are blurring between what used to be distinct categories of laptops. The Blade 14 is a perfect example of that convergence. You're getting power that used to be reserved for much larger machines, all in a package you can easily take with you.
And that brings up a really interesting question for you, our listener. With all this power becoming available on smaller and smaller devices, what do you think is the next big thing in mobile computing? Or maybe a more immediate question, is that trade-off of a higher price and the potential for some heat and fan noise worth it to you if it means you get ultimate portability and performance? How would a laptop like this fit into your workflow or your gaming habits? It's definitely food for thought.
Absolutely. Figuring out what your specific needs are and how this kind of technology aligns with those needs is crucial when you're making a decision.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the Razer Blade 14 AMD Ryzen 9. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, keep those questions coming.